After 23 years, a demon had returned to Earth. He stayed for 23 days, killing many people. Now 22 days had already passed, and only one day remained before he had to go back. For his next hunt, he arrived at a cornfield. In that same field, a boy named Billy was setting up a scarecrow. Not far away, his father Jack was at the house, and his older brother, Jack Jr., was busy repairing a car. Their dog kept barking non-stop at something in the field. Billy was adjusting his scarecrow when his eyes caught another one standing nearby. It looked strange, too strange. That was because the demon himself was hanging there, disguised like a scarecrow. Curious, Billy walked closer to check why that scarecrow looked so weird. As he got near, he noticed its fingers moving. Billy instantly realized this wasn't a scarecrow at all. He screamed in terror and ran. His scream reached his father and brother. Jack grabbed his shotgun and rushed toward him, and Jack Jr. ran too. But by the time they got there, it was too late. The demon had already snatched Billy and flown away. Both of them stood in shock, unable to process what they had just seen. Jack was devastated over losing his son. The next day, Jack Jr. went back to the cornfield and found a weapon left behind by the demon. He brought it to his father, but as soon as he handed it over, the weapon flew out of his hands, pulled like a magnet, and pierced into a lamp that was made of some kind of leather. From that moment on, Jack was drowning in grief and rage. Whoever that creature was, he had taken his son. Jack swore he would kill it and avenge Billy's death. He started working on creating a new weapon built from the demon's own. Meanwhile, inside a bus, a large group of students was heading home after winning a basketball game. Everyone was celebrating except for one boy. His name was Scotty. He sat quietly, upset. The reason? A boy named D had outplayed him in the game, and D always made fun of him, which hurt Scotty deeply. The bus drove on, passing a car, Jack's car, as he sped down the road. A little while later, one of the students on the bus felt like someone was outside. Suddenly, sharp objects hit the bus tires. One tire blew out, and the bus swerved wildly, but the driver managed to regain control. The driver and a few others got out to check. They discovered something jammed deep in the tire. It looked deliberate, like someone had purposely caused the flat. When they pulled it out, they were shocked. It was a weapon made of bones. Back inside the bus, the rest of the kids listened to the radio. A news report came on. The fire that broke out in the old church 4 days ago has finally been contained. But in the basement of that church, they had found more than 500 bodies. Not complete bodies. The insides had been ripped out, organs missing. The corpses were stitched and plastered into the ceiling and walls. And this was the very same church where Derry had gone in the first part. Meanwhile, the bus driver tried calling for help on the bus phone, but no one answered. None of the kids had signal on their cell phones either. After a while, a few boys climbed up on top of the bus to rest. Some others went off to relieve themselves. At that time, D was alone at a spot when he suddenly saw something huge flying over him. The sight terrified him. The coach started shouting for all the boys to get back inside the bus. He didn't want them staying out there. Spending the night on this deserted road could be dangerous. Years ago, something terrible had already happened here. Elsewhere, Jack was still preparing his weapon to kill the demon. He mounted the weapon into his car itself. Back on the bus, a girl named Maxie was dozing off. In her dream, the dead Billy appeared, warning her about the demon. At that very moment, out in the cornfield, the demon hurled another weapon at the bus. The second tire blew out. Maxie snapped awake and looked outside. The bus's other tire really had gone flat. Now, there was no choice. They would have to wait it out through the night. The coach fired a flare gun to light up the area, hoping a passing vehicle might spot them. The driver went back to check the tires and found another bone-made weapon stuck inside. The driver and one of the men were talking about it when suddenly the demon swooped down and snatched the coach right into the sky. No one saw where he went. The kids were horrified. Fear took hold of everyone. Meanwhile, inside the bus, a boy named Bucky kept trying to contact the police, desperately calling through the radio. The lady driver went to the front of the bus, searching for where the coach had gone, but she too was snatched away into the air by the demon. Jack, one of the boys, saw it happen. He witnessed the driver being carried off, but when he tried to tell the others, no one believed him. Before they could even figure things out, the demon came back and grabbed their assistant coach from behind, lifting him into the air. Scotty jumped and grabbed hold of him, hanging on desperately, but still, the demon flew away with the coach. Everyone inside the bus was now in panic. They shut the doors and windows, trying to barricade themselves. Meanwhile, Jack the father listened in on the police radio and froze. He heard reports that on a highway, passengers inside a bus had suddenly gone missing. Jack knew immediately this was the same demon, the same creature that had killed his son. He set out to hunt it down. Inside the bus, Bucky kept trying with the radio, calling for police help, but there was still no signal. Aside from the flare gun, they had nothing to defend themselves with. Scotty insisted they should leave the bus and look for some other place to get help, a safe spot to spend the night. Dee argued back, and the two of them clashed. Scotty already hated defeated him. But then suddenly the demon appeared again, right outside the bus window. It pressed close, sniffing at each and every one of them. The demon usually hunted only those people whose scent he liked. While sniffing, he selected 6 of them from the bus, Dee and Scotty among them. After shaking the bus violently for a moment, the demon flew off into the sky. The sight was too much for Minxie, she fainted. In her dream, Derry appeared again, telling her everything about the creature, that every 23 years, for 23 days, it awakens, and it hunts humans. This had been happening for centuries, and no human had ever been able to kill it. When Minxie regained consciousness, she revealed the horrifying truth. She told the others that whoever the demon had marked would eventually become its prey. But there was one hope. If they could somehow stay alive until midnight, they would survive. Because at midnight, the 23 days would be over, and the demon would vanish for another 23 years. Meanwhile, Jack drove further down the highway and spotted a car with its roof ripped open. Just one look and he knew. The demon had attacked that car and taken everyone inside. Then suddenly, Jack got a radio connection with Bucky. Bucky explained everything, begging Jack to call the police immediately, warning him that some kind of demon was hunting them and they were trapped out on the highway. But instead of alerting the police, Jack switched off his radio. He wasn't going to call for help. He wanted to kill the demon himself to avenge his son's death. Back on the bus, everyone cheered, believing rescue was finally on the way. But their hope was crushed when the demon landed on the roof of the bus. It grabbed Bucky and tried to pull him upward. Rhonda quickly grabbed a metal rod and rammed it into the demon's arm, then drove it straight into its skull. The demon howled in pain and released Bucky. The rod was jammed deep into its head, stuck firmly in the bone. The demon struggled, ripping it out, shattering part of its skull in the process. Now furious, the demon soared above the bus and then came crashing down onto the roof. The impact shattered every window, but the violent crash also knocked the demon unconscious. The students saw their chance. While the creature was down, they tried to escape, but the bus doors were jammed shut. Then, one of the demon's massive wings hung down through the roof. One boy walked up to it, mocking the creature by making fun of its wing. Suddenly, the wing lashed out and pulled him inside. All the friends tried desperately to save the boy, terrified, but it was too late. Trapped in the wing, his head was ripped off. His body dropped to the ground while the demon flew away, carrying his severed head. Then, horrifyingly, the demon tore off its own head and replaced it with the boy's. Now, it looked even more monstrous than before. The demon didn't attack them immediately. Instead, it soared back into the sky. A few moments passed, and the group began to calm down, thinking maybe the creature had gone. They started planning to run. But then Scotty spoke up. He said that Jack, Bucky, and Dee should leave the bus because the demon had chosen them. If they stayed, everyone else would die because of them. Dee grew furious at this, reminding Scotty that the demon had chosen him too. They argued, voices rising, until some of the group actually stepped off the bus. Scotty was forced to go with them. But just as they made their move, the demon appeared again in the sky. Everyone panicked and tried to rush back into the bus. Inside, a boy named Johnny refused to open the door, keeping them locked out. The others bolted into the fields instead. The demon hurled one of its weapons straight at them. It struck Jack in the head. Jack died instantly. Meanwhile, Scotty ran in the opposite direction, trying to escape. The demon launched a blade at him. It struck deep into Scotty's body. Some of the kids tried to help him, but it was useless. The moment they pulled the blade free, the demon swooped down and carried Scotty away. Back near Jack's lifeless body, Minxie ran toward him, crying out. She told the others that no matter what they did, even if they all fought together, they could never destroy the creature. But Jack refused to listen. Fueled by rage, he ordered everyone back toward the bus. Inside, Bucky was struggling to climb back in when the demon appeared again. Its claws seized him, dragging him upward. At that moment, Jack arrived. The demon turned toward him, spreading its wings wide, trying to terrify him. But Jack fired his custom-made gun at the demon. The steel cable shot out and pierced into its chest. The demon was trapped. It tried to fly, but the wire held it fast, tethered to Jack's truck. When the creature rose into the air, the entire truck lifted off the ground with it. Realizing what it had to do, the demon ripped the wire from its chest and hurled it back at the vehicle. The cable whipped dangerously close, nearly killing Jack's son, but by sheer luck, he survived. Now the demon turned, advancing toward Jack to finish him. Jack quickly fired again. This time, the wire shot through the bus and tangled into the demon's body, stunning it for a few seconds. But the creature wasn't finished. It pulled hard, dragging the truck and bus with it until both vehicles flipped over. Then, with a thunderous beat of its wings, it flew into the sky once more. Meanwhile, Minxie, Rhonda, and Dee stumbled upon an old abandoned car, its passengers already dead. Desperate, the three climbed inside, hoping to escape. But the demon swooped down, attacking their vehicle. The car sped down the road, but the monster was far too fast. fast. When it closed in on D, he raised a flare gun and fired. The burning shot hit, sending the demon crashing to the ground. In the chaos, one terrified boy kicked another out of the car, sacrificing him. The driver slammed the brakes just as the demon lunged, and the creature smashed against the vehicle, flipping it violently. Bodies were thrown in every direction. D regained consciousness, writhing in pain. One of his legs was broken. Nearby, he spotted one of the demon's torn-off wings lying on the ground. The demon saw him too. D crawled, dragging himself across the dirt, trying to escape. The creature bounded after him, leaping like a monstrous frog. Before D could get away, the demon pounced, grabbing hold of him. It raised its claws, ready to end his life. But at that very moment, Jack arrived. He fired his weapon again, striking the beast and slamming it to the ground. Jack charged in, unleashing his fury, striking and stabbing until the demon was left motionless. For a moment, everyone thought it was over. But one girl, lying injured on the ground, whispered the truth. It isn't dead. Its 23 days are up. It will come back 23 years from now. Jack, however, had gotten what he wanted. He had avenged his son. Years later, Jack's grown son was seen charging admission to curious kids. He took their money and in return showed them the demon's body, still restrained, displayed inside a barn. Jack had captured the creature's corpse, waiting for the day it would awaken again so he could destroy it once and for all. And with that, the story ends. High voltage.